Okay, good morning. My name is Adam Hawkins. I'm so excited to present to you today something that's near and dear to my heart. I want to talk to you today about low-carb diets. Low-carb diets for me is something I've used 2 or 3 times. Staying in relatively good health and pretty good shape has been important for me. My dad passed away at 64 suddenly of a heart attack, and so I've always felt like I need to take good care of my body. Both my parents were overweight, and so I've just started to realize how important it is what you take into your body can really affect how you feel, how you look, and your overall health and your longevity in life. So the idea behind a low carb diet is you stay less than 45 grams of carbs a day. This can be difficult. If any of you ever tracked your carbs before, carbs are in everything and it's really hard to do. So I got a pie chart here to give you a general idea. So this is an example of a ketogenic diet pie chart. So your carbs need to be less than 10 to 20% of your intake, your protein at 20 to 30, and then your fats at 40 to 50%. Now this can all change based on how you eat. Like right now I'm in a bulking stage where I'm working out a lot, so I do a little more proteins, a little less fats. But in general, the carbs always want to stay the same at about 10 to 20%. So what that does for you is it puts your body in a state of ketosis. So what happens is your body uses carbohydrates and sugars as fuel for most of your life. You take in a carbohydrate, your body processes it down, turns it into something called glycogen, and then you use that glycogen to fuel your body. It's in your bloodstream, it fuels everything you go through. What you do is when you cut back to less than 45 grams of carbs a day, you trick your body and you put it into what is called a state of ketosis, where your body is releasing ketones, and it uses those ketones instead of the glycogen as fuel because there's no glycogen in your body left, and so it has to use those ketones. And then what happens is as you stay in a calorie deficit, those ketones are burned as fat, which sounds great, right? Everybody wants to burn fat, you want to look great. And so this is one of those diets that really the biggest benefit is you can burn fat as fuel, and this happens pretty quickly. It only takes 24 to 48 hours for people to get into a state of ketosis, and then you're starting to use your fat as fuel. And so as you take in that fat, it'll burn it up, and as you use everything you've taken in, your body will actually burn the fat on your body as fuel. And so you will see quick results, which is easier for people to stay on track. When you start to see the scale drop quickly, you feel good. It's not so much harder to eat, and so you're like, yeah, I can do this. But this is not a miracle end-all be-all diet. It's really still one of those deals that you have to pay attention to what you're eating. So for me, I use an app. I use the MyFitnessPal app. This is the one I have here. So it just keeps track of my nutrition. I log my food every day. You can see my pie chart for yesterday. I had a little more protein, a little less fat, and then the carbs are there. And then it keeps track of when you're eating your carbohydrates, what you're eating, and it takes you through. And it's just a really good way for me to be able to track what I'm eating, how I'm eating, and then make sure I'm keeping my macronutrients where they need to be. A couple of the negative side effects you need to watch out for, though. You are eating a lot of fat, and so it can increase your cholesterol. As with everything, you really should consult your physician before getting started and just make sure that you're in a place where you can go on this diet. And then also it's harder to keep the weight off. So the moment you go back to eating carbohydrates, your body starts to get really excited and say, yay, I've missed you. And so it's going to start storing those again. And so you have to be very careful. Many people recommend doing like a carb cycling, where you do 2 or 3 days of ketosis, 2 or 3 days of back into carbs, and then you can start to see if you can keep the weight off. The overall benefit, though, out of everything is just the fact that it helps you keep track of what you're eating, helps you stay on a healthy path. I have come to discover that carbohydrates are a very nutrient-dense food. It's one of those deals that when you eat a carbohydrate, your body is triggered into feeling good, but it's not the end-all, be-all miracle cure for everything. You really just need to pay attention to what you're eating, pay attention to how much of what you're eating. Like, for example, you need a regular candy bar, which you think you stop and you grab one. It's just a normal thing that we do in our everyday life. That candy bar can have up to 45 grams of carbs in it. And of those, 35 of them are sugar. So you see the insulin spike. There's all sorts of different things that can happen. So for me, a low-carb diet has just helped me realize what I'm eating, to pay attention to that. There is times when I am or am not in a state of ketosis, but overall, it's just been a big help for me. So if any of you have any questions, I will be here all week. I look forward to answering any of your questions and helping you out. Good luck with you on your diets.